Hey everyone, it's Jesse with Lawn Life, and today we're going to talk about maintaining short grass versus maintaining tall grass. Now, luckily for me, I had the opportunity to do both heights of cuts in my existing grass. My first 2 years in this house, I kept the grass at 3.5 inches, and I tried my butt off to make it look as good as possible. Last year, I went down to 5/8 of an inch, so I also got to see the differences between the two. Today, we're going to talk about the different inputs that go into the grass, like your water and your fertilizer, and then we'll also get into 6 different categories and talk about the pros and cons of each type of grass in those categories. The categories are going to be appearance, maintenance, color, striping ability, disease pressure, and weed pressure. And then we'll pick a winner for each one of those categories also. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to talk about the different inputs that go into both types of grass. And the first input we're going to talk about is water. Now, by far and away, the biggest question I always get asked is how much water does it take to keep short grass thriving compared to long grass? And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I did not notice that much of a difference in my water bill. It might have been a little higher, but not enough for me to go, whoa, holy crap, we're spending way too much money on water. My wife actually takes care of the water bill, and she didn't say anything to me last year, which was a really good sign to say, hey, I'm not spending that much more water than I was on the long grass. I know it's hard for a lot of people to believe, but honestly, we didn't have that wet of a summer last year, and it was pretty hot, and the grass never went into dormancy. It never looked bad. It looked super good all the way through summer. So I'm 100% convinced that it doesn't take that much more water compared to long grass to keep your short grass thriving and looking good. Now, if you were to ask a professional what height of cut I should keep my grass at, most are going to say 3 inches and higher. And I did some research online to see why that was. And one of the reasons was the canopy with taller grass keeps that top soil layer more moist than it would with short grass, which would dry out super quick. Now, if you were to go out in my short grass and try moving the grass apart to look for a soil layer, it is super hard to even see the dirt because the grass grew in so super dense and it just like covers the entire soil. So yes, it might be closer, the soil might be closer to the sun actually hitting it and not be as high of a canopy, but you have to really dig to even see dirt in my grass. It's super thick, super dense. So that kind of is a wash right there in my opinion. Now I could be completely wrong with that, but I think that's one of the reasons why my water bill isn't that much higher is because that grass covers the soil so well at that height. The second thing we're going to get into is fertilizer. And I had a couple people ask me if my fertilizing habits were different with short grass compared to long grass, and I did not change anything and I did not notice any difference. So I would say fertilizer is going to be the same. There's not going to be a big difference. You got to fertilize your grass. You got to stay on top of it, and you got to make sure you're not over fertilizing or under fertilizing. Now, getting into the 6 different categories. The first category we're going to talk about is appearance, and this is going to be controversial, I think. But by far and away, appearance looks better in short grass. It just looks better. And I know there's going to be a few people that are going to say, I love my long grass. I love the way it looks. Long grass looks way better than short grass, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just going to look and say that you're wrong, and you're part of maybe the small percentage in the world that thinks long grass looks better. Short grass just looks better. And so I'm going to give you a real life example of this. When I was taking care of my grass at 3.5 inches, I was working my butt off to make it look as good as possible. And I maybe got a handful of compliments telling me how good my grass looked. As soon as I started cutting my grass short, I had probably 10 times the compliments in the first month of going short that I did in the last 2 years before that of having long grass. People constantly complimented my grass. And to this day, if I'm outside working in the grass, if someone walks by, there's a 50-50 chance someone's gonna say something about the grass. It's crazy. So I would say 100% the appearance of short grass is going to beat the appearance of long grass every time. It is what it is. Sorry if you like long grass. Don't shoot the messenger. Second category we're going to talk about is maintenance. And by far and away, maintenance is way easier on long grass. We're going to go into a couple different subcategories of maintenance, and the first one's going to be mowing frequency. You have to mow way more with short grass, not to break the 1/3 rule. With long grass, you can get away with mowing once a week. With short grass, that's just not the case. If you are not using any growth regulator, you have to be out there 2 or 3 times a week to cutting your grass, not break that 1/3 rule and stressing it out. So by far and away, you got to mow way more with short grass. And as long as we're talking about that, to mow with short grass, you 100% need to have plant growth regulator to stop the growth in your grass. Otherwise, it's just not going to be possible to keep up. I mean, I have 2 kids, and it would be impossible. It would not even be a question if I could keep short grass if I didn't have PGR. So mowing frequency is a big thing when it comes to maintenance with short grass versus tall grass, and tall grass is going to win every single day of the week. Second category we're going to talk about within maintenance is your lawnmower. And when it comes to long grass, you have an endless selection of lawnmowers that you get to pick from. And the maintenance on those lawnmowers is super easy. When it comes to short grass, you basically have 2 selections. You either have a manual reel or you have a greens mower. Now with a manual reel, that is it's super easy to maintain, but what sucks with it is you're gonna get washboarding. And what washboarding is it the waves that you see in the grass because the reel is not moving fast enough to make sure those waves disappear. With a greens mower, where do I even start? The price is high, the maintenance on it sucks, and you have to find a golf course to help you maintain that. Now, let's say you break something in the middle of the year. Let's say you screw up your reel in the middle of your mowing season. You have to order the parts for the greens mower. You have to bring it to your mechanic, or you have to do it yourself and be mechanically savvy enough to do that. Or you have to bring it to your golf course and have them work on it. Now, finding a golf course in the first place to work on your greens mower is a pain in the butt. I mean, I called 30 different golf courses, and it was really hard to find someone that was finally willing to work on my lawnmower. Secondly, when you're working on your grass in your yard, your busiest time is going to be in the middle of summer, which is going to be the golf course's busiest time. So having the turnaround time for them to work on your lawnmower and get it back to you in a fast amount of time is really hard to do because they're as busy as you are in the summer, if not busier. So the whole process of maintaining a greens mower just sucks, to be honest. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of time. So maintaining your mower is by far way easier with the long grass. So definitely long grass wins on that front. The third category we're going to talk about is color. And the winner of color is going to be long grass for sure. The shorter you cut your grass, the lighter the color becomes. When you start cutting short, that color just starts to disappear. Long grass, super dark, looks super nice. I love the color of long grass. Now you can add PGR and you can also add iron to your grass with your short grass to darken it up a bit, which I did last summer and it helped a ton. It just doesn't last that long. So you're constantly adding iron and plant growth regulator to your grass to keep it dark. Now you can add those same exact things to your long grass and it's gonna get super dark. So no matter what, your longer grass is gonna outshine your short grass with color. The fourth category is going to be striping ability. And once again, long grass is gonna take the cake with this. Long grass stripes way better than short grass. The shorter you get with your grass, the less it's gonna stripe. Now, not saying it can't be done, but striping is gonna look way better with taller grass than it is short grass. The next category we're going to talk about is weed pressure. And for me, the winner is short grass. And this is a little controversial. All the research I did when looking up why you should keep your grass at 3 inches and higher, one of the reasons was because of weed pressure, which was very interesting to me because of how dense my short grass grows in compared to my long grass. I had a bunch of weed issues in my front yard and in my backyard when it was longer compared to the weed issues I have now with my short grass. And I want to say it's because of how dense my grass fills in that the weed pressure is just basically has gone away. In my backyard, it's just weed heaven back there. And I would have to say some of it's because of the field in my backyard, with a bunch of weed seeds probably get blown into it. But honestly, I had the same issues in my front yard when it came to weeds when my grass was longer. I had a ton of weeds that I had to constantly get rid of, and that just hasn't been the case with short grass. So to me, I would say my weed pressure is way less with short grass. The pros say that long grass holds up better against weed pressure. Me, I'm just gonna call the winner short grass because that's what I've dealt with, but you can pick your poison with that one. And the last category we're gonna talk about is disease pressure. And to be completely honest with you guys, I did not notice a big difference between my short grass and my long grass when it came to fungus or any other disease pressure. I had a little bit of rust come in my front yard last year that I never saw before with the long grass, but there were spots maybe this big and not a big deal. Although other than that, I did not see any kind of disease pressure on my short grass compared to my long grass. I had a little bit of leaf spot and melting out in my long grass a few seasons ago, but other than that, I haven't had much disease pressure on either length of grass. So I would say we'll chalk that up to a tie, and disease pressure is about the same in my experience with short grass and long grass. So there you have it. 3 wins for long grass, 2 wins for short grass, and 1 tie. For me, I think appearance takes the cake with all of the categories, so that's why I will be sticking with short grass compared to long grass. But if you don't have the time to maintain short grass, I totally understand why you wouldn't go down to short grass from long grass. I mean, there's a lot of good things about long grass, and honestly, you can make your long grass look super good if you take care of it. So I'm not saying short grass is the end all be all, but I just prefer short grass compared to long grass. Those are a little bit of the differences between the two. And if you guys have any other questions that I didn't cover today, just let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. If you guys can subscribe and hit those notifications, I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this channel and I want to bring as much useful content to you guys as possible. So if you guys could please subscribe and hit that notification bell, I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time on Lawn Life.